Yo, what is up everybody? Jumping here, and today I'm going to be showcasing my Reaver build for Dragon Age Inquisition. A lot of people have been requesting me to go ahead and show this build. And I did slightly show it in another one of my videos, but in this video I'm going to really break it down, talk about everything you need to know about the Reaver, what weapon you're going to want, what armor you're going to want, what abilities you might want, and how to play the class. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, now the first thing you need to know about the Reaver is an offensive god. It's warrior specialization, and it does insane DPS. I honestly think that the Reaver might do more DPS than the rogues, and that's really crazy. I wasn't expecting that, but once I started playing as this thing, I was like, holy crap, this thing is so freaking good. But it is a risky class. It's basically kind of like a glass cannon. You're going to sacrifice your own health to do more damage. Now, the first ability here is Ring of Pain. This is an amazing ability, but it does have a big downside to it, and that's really the trend with the Reaver. There's a lot of downside, but there's a lot of upside as well. Ring of Pain, it has a huge radius, 15 meters. It does a little bit of damage to the enemies if they're inside the ring. Not much, but it does add up. The main amazing ability of Ring of Pain is that for every 1% of health that you lose, you do 1% more damage. So that's really, really good. The upgrades to this ability will reduce the cooldown of Devourer, one of your other main powers you're going to be using, and it's also going to reduce the cost of Dragon's Rage, which is your main power that you're going to be spamming. Now, the big downside of Ring of Pain is that it costs 10 stamina per second. And that just really sucks because it's going to make it so that you're really not going to want to go for anything in the two-handed tree or the one-handed tree if you're using a sword and shield, because you're just not going to have stamina to be using other abilities all that much if you have this out. And I do recommend to have this out most of the time. Now for the passives, I would recommend getting all the passives, but when you first start off, I would recommend going down the right side and then finish up the Reaver tree, go all the way down to Dragon's Rage, and then after that, go for your Vanguard. Because remember, I'm level 24. And let's say you're just getting your Reaver specialization and you're only level 10, you kind of need to know, like, what should you focus on in the beginning. So I recommend going down the right tree of Reaver to max it out, then start to focus on your Vanguard tree, and I recommend going for Warcry first, Charging Bull, it will cost you, and then finally Unbowed. So that's what I would say, and then after that, you can pretty much decide what you want to get next. Alright, so, like I said, all the passives, though, eventually you do want to get every single one. It's up to you if you want to get the focus ability. I love Mark of the Rift, so normally I just skip this, but if you like this, that's fine, you can go for it. Devour. Devour is going to be one of your main abilities here. What it does, primarily, is just you use it, it does some damage, but it also will give you a little bit of life, which is nice. The big downside of this ability is its high cost, 65 stamina. So there is a big problem. If you have Ring of Pain out, you're probably not going to be able to use this all that much. But there is a way around it, and I'll explain it in this video. The upgrade for it will actually increase your critical hit chance for Dragon's Rage, but I'm pretty sure it's only for your next use of it. At least that's what it says. It could be that you get like a little bit of a timer, like a 3-second timer or something, but I don't know. And it kind of sucks that it's only for one Dragon Rage. So you do want to use Devour quite a bit because you want to crit with this. Dragon Rage is your main ability, and this is the ability you're going to be spamming, but it will cost you 2% of your health every time you use it. And that really sucks, and Ring of Pain will give it more damage, so you do want to have Ring of Pain out. But this thing hits so freaking hard. I've hit enemies with like crits for like 4,000 damage, and you can spam the crap out of it, and you just hit them so many times that they just die extremely fast. And now with the upgrade, what it will do is that it will give you a little bit more damage, and it will also help reduce the cooldown of Devourer. Alright, so that's pretty much all you need to know for that. Let me go ahead and take a break from the build and talk about the armor and the weapon, because Dragon Rage kind of sucks in the sense that you're going to lose a lot of health, but there are ways to really diminish the effect. You can't nullify that effect, but you can diminish it. Now the weapon I recommend that you actually craft a weapon yourself. This axe I have, I got it from this fort in the snowy area. It's Emprise du Lion is the name of the area. And there's a fort here. You can take the fort. Once you do, there's a merchant. You can buy schematics. There's other schematics, of course, you can get that are really good as well. And I'll explain how to get those. But I recommend crafting a weapon. And if you can, to craft this particular axe that you can buy here. Because you can put critical damage bonus on this weapon. And with the weapon modifications, you can put critical chance. But the main thing I recommend to put on it is you want to go for either Fade Touched Dawnstone or Fade Touched Everride. But what it does is that it will heal 25% of the damage taken over 10 seconds. That really helps because you might think, damage taken, do I need to be hit for that to go off? No, even if you damage yourself with Dragon's Rage, you will heal a little bit of that damage back every single time. And that really does help a lot. So that's what I recommend for the weapon. Now the armor, now this is crucial. I'm using Superior Battlemaster armor. I'll explain like how you can go ahead and get this, but I just crafted this armor. But the effect I have on it right now is on hit, I heal 1% of my maximum health. That is crucial because what that does is that it will cut the cost of Dragon Rage in half. So if you combine this with the weapon, you're going to really be able to control Dragon Rage a lot easier. You're not going to be killing yourself instantly. As a Reaver, it doesn't matter how much health you have. I recommend actually going for strength because even if you have 1 billion health, because it's a percentage that you're draining, you're always going to kill yourself just as fast. So your health doesn't really matter all that much. But if you can diminish the effect of Dragon's Rage, then it's going to be easier to control and you're going to be able to spam it a lot more. Now if you're wondering how do you get this effect, it comes from another Fate Touched item. It's the Snowflower skin. I'll show you how to farm it. Now the actual word is like French and I don't want to massacre the word, so I'm just going to say Snowflower because I'm pretty sure that's what it translates to. Alrighty, so that's what I wanted to quickly talk about. Because if you can go for those two things, the Reaver becomes much more broken because you will diminish the effects of Dragon's Rage, which is your main power. Now, let's go ahead and finish up the rest of the build. Challenge, I never used Challenge. I just went for this so I can get like this passive and this passive. And the thing is, I would wait for this. I would wait a long time for this stuff because honestly, I don't use Challenge at all. And I went for these passives just for the little bit of the bonuses. Like this one, for example, all the taunted enemies will take 20% more damage. I don't really use Warcry all that much. I use it just to get my armor to max because that is important when you first start fighting enemies. You want to have max armor, and then once you have max armor, I don't even bother like using Warcry unless I need to, or Unbowed. But Unbowed, this is basically like your main thing for getting armor because the upgrade for this is amazing. But the main power in the Vanguard tree that is just insane is Charging Bull. This is such a useful power for so many reasons. It allows you to run faster. If you're like on an open terrain, you can run faster than like your horse with this. At least I think you can. And that's really, really sad. Because the horse kind of sucks, in my opinion. But yeah, Charging Bull is amazing for that. It also will give you a little bit of guard if you hit the enemy. 10%, not much, but it still adds up over time. It does damage to the enemies, but the main thing here is that it will knock them on their ass. And there's things you can do with that, like there's like certain combos. But the upgrade is so crucial. What it does is that after you hit an enemy, actually, take that back. You don't actually have to hit the enemy. You can use this for a half of a second, and then you will get this, which is your next ability will cost no stamina. Now, there's one ability that has a high cost, and it kind of sucks to pay that cost, and that's Devour. Devour has that 65 stamina cost. So what you want to do is use Charging Bull and then use Devour. Even if you have Ring of Pain out, use Charging Bull, then Devour, and you don't have to worry about like draining all your stamina, or if you don't have enough stamina for it. So Charging Bull is absolutely amazing. I do recommend the passives as well, but like this passive, for example, you can wait on that. And if you're wondering why do I go for the upgrade with this, this is great because it gives you 200% more armor, but once again, I don't use Warcry all that much, and because I don't use it, I don't go for the upgrade. Now, the Battlemaster tree, this is something you can get a little bit later. I wouldn't recommend you get this like early on, but the passives here are like amazing. This one right here is really good because remember, you're going to have problems with stamina, and what this does is that when you get low on stamina, you're going to get a massive amount of stamina regeneration, and that really helps. This one right here is pretty decent, but what you have to do is you get a critical hit, you'll weaken the enemy so the enemy will do less damage. If you get a lot of critical hits, this effect stacks, and that is like pretty crazy because you can reduce the damage on like a dragon really low if you're hitting a lot of crits. Now this ability is probably the best passive in the entire tree because what it does is that if you stun an enemy or if you knock an enemy down, you will do 30% more damage to that enemy. And remember, Charging Bull will knock enemies down. So if you're using Charging Bull a lot, this thing is a must because you just do a massive amount of damage to them. Horn of Valor, I talked about this in another video. This is amazing. If you get the upgrade, it's a 50% damage bonus for everybody. That is insane. Now, to be quite honest, I don't use it all that much because I kind of forget about it. Normally what I like to do is I'll use it and then I'll use Charging Bull to attack an enemy and I'll just go to town. And that's normally how I use it. Against like any boss or anything though, I highly recommend it because it just helps with everybody. You'll kill bosses really quick because of this. But yeah, that's what I'd say. I say that Horn of Valor is amazing, but this isn't like something you need to get right away. But let's say you're not playing as a Reaver and you have like Cassandra or Blackwall or Iron Bull or whoever. Well, the thing is that you can actually go for this and prefer it, and then they'll use it all the time. And I like it a lot better like that because it kind of slows you down. That's the thing. I like to get into the action and go to town, and using something like this, same with like Warcry, it just slows me down. So I don't use it all that much, but I do highly recommend it. And if you're gonna use it, I normally recommend to use it like before you even like engage the enemies. Alright, now everything else, there's really nothing else. I guess I should talk about this. Focus Teamwork. I highly recommend getting this. You don't have to get this early, but I do recommend getting it because it does help. And this is for every class. If you're a mage or a rogue or a warrior, I recommend getting it because it just will allow like your entire party to get more focus. And as a Reaver, you're not going to be detonating combos, but your teammates will, and you'll get more focus. So it is really good. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about some of the items. Now the accessories, all of my accessories here, every single one, I think I got them from dragons. So, I don't know. I could be wrong about that for a couple of these, but I'm pretty sure almost every single one of these things I have I got from killing like certain dragons. But this is what I recommend for your setup. I recommend critical damage because you will be getting a lot of crits and critical damage will help. The Ring of Attack. Attack in this game, they changed it. It used to be accuracy in the other Dragon Age games, which was really stupid. In this game, it's just damage, so Ring of Attack is good. Superior Guard Belt. I want to have as much guard as possible, and I'm using the Amulet of Constitution, which just gives me more health. But remember, health doesn't matter all that much because you're going to be draining your own health. The armor, I already talked about this. I think it's very crucial to have one of your crafted items to have that heal 1% of maximum health on it. And the weapon, I already talked about this as well, but, you know, I recommend crafting something. Now, this weapon right here is actually really good. It has, like, the highest DPS. It has, like, 316 when you get it. If you want to know how to get this weapon, what you have to do is when you come here, there's a camp. I believe it's the third camp. This right here would be your first camp. This is your second camp, and this would be the third camp. Once you take this third camp, there's like a bridge. You cross that bridge, and if you just explore a little bit, you can find like a codex. And if you read it, it will unlock an operation, which is like a side quest. You go and do it, and you have to collect pieces of that sword. Then when you complete it, you can get the sword, and it's a really strong sword. but I still recommend crafting your weapon. So it's up to you, but, you know, I don't know. The sword is godly. I love it. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about this. Now, like I said, if you want to get this axe schematic, you get it from this place. There's a merchant down here, and he sells all types of different weapon schematics and weapon modification schematics. So you want to, like, pretty much buy them all if you can. But the axe, I believe it's like 6,500 for the axe. And there's another weapon schematic you can get early on, really early on. The second you get the Skyhold, you can actually go to the Hissing Wastes, and there's tombs here. There's a total of 6 tombs, and there's 5 of them that will contain schematics. And in one of the tombs, you will get a one-handed warrior weapon schematic, and in another one of the tombs, you will get a two-handed warrior weapon schematic. And if you can get one of those schematics, they are really, really good. And you can go ahead and craft it and start using it right away. But for your final weapon, I would recommend this axe because this axe gets a lot of good stuff on it. I'll quickly show you. Like, one of the things that you can get on it is you can get critical damage bonus. You can get that times 2. It costs dragon webbing. And when you have 2 of them, you get 42% more critical damage bonus. But you can actually go ahead and go for something like this. Heal on kill. This would actually pretty much nullify the downside of a Reaver, because you're going to be draining your own health. And when I play as my Reaver, I notice that I do get most of the kills. So if I had this heal on kill, I probably would, like, never die. I would probably have max health almost every single time. So this is up to you, but I don't really think it's crucial, but it would help a lot. Now for this, I would just go ahead and recommend attack, and I talked about this before, but you want to get something like this, which is heal 25% of the damage taken over 10 seconds, and that's Fade Touch Dawnstar. Now for the armor I'm using Superior Battlemaster armor. If you want to know how to get it, basically you have to get an Inquisition perk. It's called the Shortlist. And I made a video about that, talking about how it works, what you need to do to get the item that you might want. I'll put a link in the description and in the annotation if you want to check that video out. But basically, you can buy it from the dog merchant in the Hissing Wastes. But you have to have that perk, the Shortlist. And here it is right here. Now what I recommend to put on this is I recommend to put on some Strength. You could put Constitution if you want, but I recommend Strength. And then I just go for this stuff because it adds bleed on being hit. It's pretty good. Same with this one, bleed on being hit. Now, of course, I talked about this before, but you want to put I always want to say sunflower, but it's snowflower skin on it. And now, you can also get this too. This is really good. 10% chance of Horn of Valor, and it's for 12 seconds. That's actually really, really good. But I recommend this one, which is, on hit, you heal 1% of your maximum health. This really helps the Reaver because of the cost. Alrighty, so that's the armor, that's the weapon. Now, I'm going to quickly show you how to farm for the Snowflower skin. But, if you want to know how to farm the Dawnstar, you can farm in this area as well. And you can come here early on. You don't have to, like, wait until you're really high level. The second you get the Skyhold, you do actually have the option to come here. But this is the second camp. Once you take this camp, there's like a tunnel that will connect this camp to this camp. And in that tunnel, there is a ton of Dawnstone. So if you just farm it there, you will get so much Dawnstone. And you should eventually get some of the Fade Touch Dawnstone if you want. And there's another rock. I don't even know the name of the rock. I think it's like Everite. But that rock as well has the chance of getting that effect. Alright, so this is the very first camp, but if you hop down to this lake area, this is where you're going to find a ton of these snowflower enemies. And I feel really sorry for them because they're kind of pathetic. Like, they're big and they're fat and they try to live, like they will run away from you, but they can't really escape. And it's just really cruel in a way to just run around and kill these things. And this might take you a while, like 30 minutes to farm for this, and you'll kill so many of these guys. They will just keep respawning over and over and over again, and it's crazy. Sometimes you'll find like 5 of them sitting there. Oh, where you going, bitch? I normally just use Charging Bull to ram into them. And yeah, every time you kill one, they will drop loot. And you can actually sell the crafting material as well. It's a tier 3 crafting material. So you can actually sell that and make a lot of money if you end up having like, you know, a couple thousand or something. But yeah, that's what you want to do. You just want to go ahead and run around the lake and you can just keep killing these guys. I normally just do like one big circle and they just keep respawning over and over again. They're like rabbits, man, I swear. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a little bit of the Reaver and kind of talk about how I like to play as it. I'm going to come here, I'm going to go fight some giants and stuff, so I will see you guys in a moment. Alright, so we're coming up on some enemies. What I always do is I use Charging Bull first, and with its special ability, it makes it so that I actually do not use any stamina for my next attack, so I always use Devourer. And then, yeah, I throw out my ring, and just start going to town with Dragon Rage. Now, if you pay attention to my health, it's actually slowly coming back because of my weapon. And because I've reduced the cost of Dragon Rage, it makes it so easy to manage it that I really don't lose much health at all, to be quite honest. I can spam the shit out of it. Now, if you spam it too much, you're going to lose a lot of health. It's just the way it works. But if you kind of take your time, and you use Devour quite a bit, and you have your ring out and everything, it's so easy to manage the health. And yeah, so this is what I normally like to do. You can use Horn of Valor too, but it kind of takes you out of combat. Here, I just used it. Now everyone just got a massive buff, but you know, we're gonna kill this guy really freaking fast. Oh, he's trying to get away. Alright, we're gonna use Charging Bull. Go ahead and do that. Now another thing too, by the way, you always want to make sure that you do have max guard if you can, because that is important. I don't know why that happens when he goes flying up in the air like that sometimes. But yeah, always make sure you have max guard, so use Unbowed and Warcry or whatever just to get the max guard. Barriers will always help, so you should always have a mage with you. I do recommend this team. I love this team of Cole, Sarah, and Solus and myself. But if I was playing as something else, I probably would use Cassandra as a warrior, just for Horn of Valor and just to be a little bit of a tank, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, this is basically the strategy. It's Charging Bull, Devour, Ring of Pain, and then just spam Dragon Rage. And then every time Charging Bull comes back, you use it, then you use Devour again, and just keep repeating that. And like I said, if you pay attention to the health, it's barely going down at all. And because of Devour, I'm getting it back too. So that's really the strategy overall. Really, really amazing. The Reaver is absolutely a beast in terms of DPS. I love it. If this has helped you out, I would really appreciate it if you could like this video for me, favorite it, be sure to subscribe, and I hope everyone has a very nice day, and peace out.